State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live.
Here we go!
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live. Stay tuned.
Good morning, Africa. Good morning, Nigeria. Ibadan. Good morning. It is our time to shine. It is our time to inspire. It is our time to fly so high. Yes. Tinubu fell, and Seyi Makinde calls federal government Kettle. Kettle is black. Why? Peter Obi laments. 1 year gun. Democracy Day. How powerful has democracy gone in solving the problems of the people? Many questions to come and answers to come. It is your time to shine. It is the radio man's time. Welcome to beauty. Welcome to radio. Welcome to Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. Good. Primary and secondary education are the foundation upon which a country's future is built. These stages of education are crucial for the development of a nation. Seyi Makinde understands this. He understands it. What about Tinubu? Tinubu understands it too. What about Peter Obi? He talks about it. It is about understanding the important things. But hey, it is more about implementing the important things. Dear President Tinubu and fellow Nigerians, I was deeply concerned to see the president fall while getting on the parade vehicle. I want to use this opportunity to extend my sincerest wishes for the president's good health. I hope he was not injured. Mr. President, please take heart. We understand that this was an unfortunate accident. It is sad. To the security personnel around the president, I urge you to be more vigilant and proactive, especially considering the president's advanced age. We must ensure that the safety of the president at all times is paramount. I call on the president's team to take necessary precautions to prevent such incidents in the future. It is not good in our eyes. How did the president respond to his fall? Let's listen to this.
Early this morning, I had a swagger, and it's on the social media. They are confused whether I was doing Buga or doing Babariga. But it is a day to celebrate democracy while doing the ballet for the day. I'm a traditionally Yoruba boy. I did my dobale. Early this morning, I had a swagger, and it's on the social media. They are confused whether I was doing Buga or doing Babariga. But it is a day to celebrate democracy while doing the ballet for the day. I'm a traditionally Yoruba boy. I did my dobale.
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live. Stay tuned.
That's the president's response to his fall. Mr. President, I think that was a boring joke. Boring. Yes. It wasn't a joke. Mr. President, I am disappointed by your response to your fall. Instead of making a joke about it, I would have used that incident as an opportunity to inspire and motivate Nigerians at this time. Mr. President, if I were you, I would have said something like this. My fellow Nigerians, I know that my fall yesterday, or today as the case may be, was a shocking moment for many of us. But let us not see this as a sign of weakness or vulnerability. Instead, let us view it as a symbol of our nation's resilience and determination. Mr. President, if I were you, I would have said, just as I got up from the fall, so too will our country rise from the challenges we face. We've experienced many falls, economic, political, and social, but we've always gotten back up stronger and more united. Mr. President, if I were you, I would have said, this fall is the last in the life of our country. It is the dawn before the sunshine that brightens our lives. Let us use this moment to renew our faith in ourselves and in our country and in our collective future. We will rise, we will shine, and we will make Nigeria great again. Mr. President, I would have said, if I were you, that I would have used the incident to boost the faith of Nigerians in their country, to tell them that better days are ahead, and that together we can overcome any obstacle. I hope you will consider this approach in your future responses, Mr. President. May the President never fall again. The radio man is here.
President of this nation, I am morally and constitutionally bound to preserve this precious form of governance. I vow to do my utmost best to protect your rights, freedom, and liberty as citizens of Nigeria. Even more than that, I pledge to do whatever is necessary to cement democracy as our way of life. Although the challenges are steep and multiple, I am grateful to lead Nigeria at this moment in our history and point in our democratic journey.
The 2022 report on multidimensional poverty in Nigeria, this is the first of such reports ever produced, stated that 5 out of every 10 people in Oyo State are living in poverty, 50%. We're determined that the next time such a report is produced, Oyo State will have taken a huge leap forward and lifted millions more out of poverty. This is our promise. This is our pledge.
Do you think that the conflict in the Mambila is an economic conflict?
State Affairs with Edmondo Below is live.
Here we go!
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live. Stay tuned.
heard the voice of President Tinubu there pledging to defend our democracy, to ensure that the people of Nigeria enjoy progressive living. You heard Governor Makinde in the State of the State address stating that he will lift millions out of poverty. They have pledged. What do you have to say? June 12th was Democracy Day. How do you respond? You can call my WhatsApp number. That is 080-999-18449. That's the number to call. WhatsApp. You call on WhatsApp. 080-999-18449. That's the number to call. I have spoken about the fall of Mr. President. I have talked about the response of Mr. President. I wasn't down and I'm not down with the response. Are you down with it? You are not me. Okay, let's take this call. Hello, good morning. Hello. Can you hear me? Okay, that caller cannot hear me. The line is open. 080-999-18449. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Hello, Edmund.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me? Okay. Remember, this
Hello,
is...
Edmund.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. All right.
Hello.
You can't hear me. Hello, Barrister Ijiruka.
Hello. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Barrister Ijiruka.
Good morning. Yes, Edmund. Personally, I myself was very sad when I saw that fall. It's an open secret that I'm not a fan of the president. Why he was aspiring to be president? I never wanted him to be president. But since he became president, I've moved from being hostile to his presidential bid to being neutral. When I saw the fall, I was very sad. I felt it's an omen, a bad omen. But like you said, his response was wrong, was poor. There is a place for the truth. There is a place where only the truth can help you. You simply tell the nation, this is important for you people to know that I'm a human being like you. I too can trip and fall. I tripped and fell, but I am hale and hearty. Be assured of that. Let there be no panic among you. That's what the response should have been, as far as I'm concerned. Concerning the Democracy Day celebration, we all know that the absence of free and fair election does not make the democracy we have in Nigeria really the tasteful democracy we're supposed to have. Because there are so many people occupying elected positions that are not supposed to be there. They never won a free and fair election since 1999. So many governors who will know, if you look at them critically with an objective mind, you see that this one is a thug. He has no business the local government chairman, but talking about being a governor, but they rigged him. They rigged him into the governorship position. That's what making our democracy sad. And we have said the leadership recruitment in Nigeria is terribly bad. And there is one route to cleaning it, and that is restructuring of Nigeria back to regional government. If we restructure Nigeria back to regional government, people will be honest in the leadership recruitment process. And I've made an easy example. I said if in 2015 what we were looking for is regional premiers across the 6 regions, and Buhari contested as premier of Northwest against Tambua or Ata, he won't win. They won't vote for him now. How? Somebody ran away from secondary school to join the army. They will vote for him when they have the option of voting for a professor or voting for a lawyer. They won't now. But because it is Nigeria, anything goes. Immediately we restructure, our leadership recruitment process will be more honest, and Nigeria will be able to move forward. Let me leave it at that for this morning. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you, Barrister Ijiruka. That is Ijiruka there. Yes, the president can fall. He's human. Anybody can fall. Yes. But don't tell us that we are confused about what we saw. No, that is playing on our intelligence, Mr. President. Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Hello, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Yes, sir. My name is Okachi Sunday.
Make your point, Mr. Sunday.
Hello, can you hear? Okay, sir. Actually, sir, there's nobody that cannot fall. The president falling doesn't mean anything that anybody can make jest of him, but just it's too poor for him with that statement. It's not that way. Actually, it shows that the situation we are in Nigeria today, just like that of what happened to the president, like you just said this morning, that is the kind of thing I was expecting from him to say. Yes, we fall, we'll rise again. And it just that little statement would have kept him going, and everybody will understand. He's not the first president that will fall. Even in our house, we do fall, we do rise again. So I didn't see that as impact. It really pains me to hear such a thing from him. But everybody takes it like, okay, it was a joke. And now they are making jest of him. Well, I pray Nigeria will have fallen, will rise again. And the hope of falling and rise again is just by our side. There's hope for us. There's hope for us. Thank you, sir. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you for calling the radio station.
Early this morning, I had a swagger, and it's on the social media. They are confused whether I was doing Buga or doing Babarega. But it is a day to celebrate democracy while doing Dobale for the day. I'm a traditionally Yoruba boy. I did my Dobale. Early this morning, I had a swagger, and it's on the social media. They are confused whether I was doing Buga or doing Babarega. But it is a day to celebrate democracy while doing Dobale for the day. I'm a traditionally Yoruba boy. I did my Dobale. As a president of this nation, I am morally and constitutionally bound to preserve this precious form of governance. I vow to do my utmost best to protect your rights, freedom, and liberty as citizens of Nigeria. Even more than that, I pledge to do whatever is necessary to cement democracy as our way of life. Although the challenges are steep and multiple, I am grateful to lead Nigeria at this moment in our history and point in our democratic journey.
All right, I have a caller here. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Edmond. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Okay, very well then. My name is Korede. I'm calling from Ibadan.
Happy to hear your voice.
Thank you very much. Well, I have a slightly different opinion about what happened. I think we have seen such in some other climes, and I don't think there was any form of response from such leaders. Well, the Bola we know appears to be someone who is jocular and very friendly. Therefore, if one thing happened to 20 or 30 people, they are likely to react in different ways. So I want us to see that, oh, this happened to him. And definitely he wouldn't feel good about it, but we thank God we didn't see any significant or visible injuries that he had, hoping that he doesn't have any internal injuries. When he came up to try to make a joke out of it, he tried to douse the tension of everyone worrying about what happened and changed it to Buga and Dobale thing. Well, I appreciate and equally welcome your comment. It was a very good and laudable one. However, I do not see anything seriously wrong with the way the president handled the fall and the comment he made. He simply trivialized it and make a joke out of it. Yes, he could have come up to say it in another manner, but yet the way he mentioned it, I think it's still not out of place. It's still not out of place. He came up to talk about it, aside others who may just decide to ignore. What if he decided to ignore? What would we have said? So, Edmond, you're doing a good job. God bless you. Once again, my name is Korede, and I'm a police officer. Thank you.
Don't go away yet. Don't go away. Are you still there? Hello, Mr.
Korede,
Korede.
I'm with you, Edmond. I'm with you, Edmond.
Yes, the points. Were you confused about the president falling?
Well, I was a bit I was caught in awe because, I expected more from the people around him.
Yes, but
you
knew that he fell. Did you know that he fell?
Yes.
It was clear he fell.
Definitely knew that he fell. It was apparent that he fell.
So why was he saying we were confused?
Sorry, what did you say?
Why was the president then saying that we were confused?
Okay, I quite understand that, yes, the president said we were confused. I was not confused because I knew it was a fall. But it behooves on him to react in any manner to what happened. Like I said, the response of various and differing individuals to a matter would vary from person to person. I appreciate our analysis of the issue, and what you came up with was equally fantastic. However, I just see his reaction as one of those reactions. I wasn't confused by what he said. I knew it was apparently a fall.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Edmond. And you're doing a beautiful job. God bless you.
And bless you too.
Fantastic.
All right. The program is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. We are discussing politics, power. Yes, Tinubu delivered a June 12 address to the nation. He talked about democracy. He defined democracy. He went into the doctrines of democracy. And I want us to reflect on Tinubu's definition of democracy and see some lessons that we can take away from his lecture.
Discourse. Democracy is neither a foreign nor abstract concept devoid of real-life meaning for us. Neither can we afford to reduce or minimize it to being nothing but the mere holding of periodic elections where one candidate and party outdo another. While elections attract democratic attention, they are but one aspect of democracy. Democracy is a way of life that encompasses a broad outlook of which elections are but a part. As such, a nation can have elections without being democratic, but a nation cannot be truly democratic without holding elections. That we have established a tradition of holding transparent, open, and fair elections gives credence to our democratic standing. That we have experienced peaceful transitions of government affirms our democratic temperament. Fellow Nigerians, true democracy shined its light on the daily lives of the people who live under its nurturing wings. It affords us the freedom and liberty to think as we want, live where we want, and pursue whatever legitimate endeavors suits us. Democracy does not assume some false or forced unity of opinion. In fact, democracy assumes that conflicting ideas and differing opinions shall be the order of the day, given the diversity and variety of the human experience. There must be diverse perspectives and viewpoints. What democracy demands is that we do not resolve differences through force and repression, but we make allowance for the legitimacy of views that differ from our own. The other forms of government imposed against the will of the people. Democracy aims to make leaders who conduct themselves as servants of the common good, not as viceroys of the narrow interests of the might.
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live.
Here we go!
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live. Stay tuned.
That's President Tinubu's definition of democracy.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, my name is Biodun.
All right, Mr. Biodun.
I would like to contribute about what we are talking about.
But the voice in the background, the baby's voice is louder than yours. Hello.
Now you can hear me. Hello, you can hear me good now?
All right.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that everybody can fall, you know. But this is what we are talking about our leader. Why they need to be misleading us and lie for us. Mr. President fall, we agree that it's fall. But he's trying to say is that the men, Yoruba typical men, that we need to fall down and make a dobale. This is not the way we make a dobale in Yoruba land. When you make dobale, you have to lie down in proper way, not the way it fall. You have to say, I'm falling. Then everybody will know that you are falling. So our leader, I don't know why they have to lie for us, which is not good. I don't know what they are teaching us. So this is my own contribution. So thank you for your effort on this administration and everything in Nigeria. We really appreciate you. God will be with you. God will bless you. God will bless your station. Thank you.
I wish you well. Thank you. Thank you for calling the radio station. Thank you. Yes, it's about the nation. It's about the people. Hello. I'm going to take this call. Let me try again. Just hold on. All right, I can get you now. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Hello, this is Temitope.
All right, Temitope.
One of your old fans. I thank God you picked my call today. I've been listening to you since Splash FM was established. When you used to do the sport band, Eagle's Eye, and others. I've been trying to call all this while, but you didn't pick my calls. But thank God I entered today.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate your help towards Nigerian development. And God will continue to enable you to do more and more for our dear country. Based on the issue of the Mr. President falling, I think it's not the only first president, as the earlier callers have said. If I could remember vividly, I think Joe Biden, the American president, for last year, nobody make any comment about it. And he doesn't lie to the people. He said he fought and is getting back to his feet, that nothing happened to him. I don't know the reason why our president will continue, most especially African presidents, continue lying to their people. That's part of what is reflecting in their government, because what they say to us is not what they are practicing in the office. When they wanted to campaign for election, they promise us all sorts of things, but when they get to the office, they forget about the people. To me, I know Nigeria will rise again, but not with this corrupt leader, those ones that benefited from Nigeria good system in their young age. Now, when they're supposed to produce and to give back to the country, they are now the one that's spoiling the country. It was very sad situation for the country.
Thank you.
I pray our people will learn from that, and we know the kind of people we put into government in charge of our affairs in the country. Then back to the governor of Oyo State, Governor Seyi Makinde. I'm from Ibadan. I'm citizen of Ibadan, and I heard a lot about him. Presently, I'm not in the country, but I used to talk to people over there in Nigeria. I don't know, maybe we can hold on his word, but people said he's trying to do his best. But most politicians come out and give us their words, promising, but at the end of the day, by the time they leave the office, we don't see anything to account of from what they promise the people. Good morning, the radio man. I make my submission.
Thank you for making your submission. Yes. I'll be going for a break. When I return, I will look at this subject: political lies and lying to the Nigerian public. The focus will be on Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. It was Babangida that organized the June 12 election. It was Babangida that annulled the election. So on this program, Emeritus Professor John Ayuade will be my guest. He will tell the story he told in his intellectual paper entitled Political Lies and Lying to the Nigerian Public. But let me also let you know, it is not only politicians that lie. Ayuade says, in fact, politicians lie because their constituencies are prone to accept lies. In a way, therefore, he says some proportion of their constituencies are passive liars. So don't miss the engagement with Professor John Ayuade, a professor of political science. It's an enlightened discourse. And in the course of the discourse, we will talk about one Professor Omo Omorui. Professor Omo Omorui. Have you heard about him? I'll tell you about him. He wrote one of the most authoritative books on the June 12 election. He was an insider. And that book is a book you should read. State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. I am Edmond Obilo. Stay tuned.
My fellow Nigerians, let me begin by congratulating all of us for witnessing the celebration of another Democracy Day today, the 12th day of June 2024. This year also marks our nation's 25 years of uninterrupted democratic governance. On this day, 31 years ago, we entered our rites of passage to becoming a true and enduring democratic society. Going through this passage was hard and dangerous. During the fateful 6 years that followed, we fought and struggled for our natural rights as human beings, put on this earth by the divine hand of our Creator. We lost great heroes and heroines along the way. In this struggle, the winner of June 12, 1993 presidential election, Chief MKO Abiola, the most significant symbol of our democratic struggle, his wife, Kudirat, General Sheikh Musa Yar'Adua, and Pa Alfred Iwani, amongst others, sacrificed their very lives. They bravely surrendered their fortunes so that our nation might have a better one. Let us honor the memories of Chief Anthony Enahoro, Chief Abraham Adesanya, Commodore Dan Sulaiman, Chief Athon Wanko, Chief Chukwuemeka Ezeibe, Admiral Ndibusi Kanu, Chief Frank Kokori, Chief Bola Ige, Chief Adekunle Ajasin, Chief Gani Udaudu, Chief Ayo Fasanmi, Chief Gani Fawemi, Chief Olabi Idrojaye, Dr. Beko Ransom Kuti, Chima Ubani, and others who have transited to higher realm. The sacrifices of General Alani Akinrade, Professor Bolaji Akeyemi, Professor Wole Soyinka, Chief Rab Obioha, Chief Colonius Adebayo, among many others, should never be forgotten. For at least 6 years, they bore the pain and difficulties of life in exile. While the exiled pro-democracy activists kept the fire burning, their comrades at home sustained the pressure on military leadership. Among the latter are Olisa Agbakoba, Femi Falana, Abdul Oro, Senator Shehu Sani, Governor Ubasani, Chief Olufalaye, and other National Democratic Coalition leaders such as Chief Ayo Adebanjo and Chief Ayo Okpadokun. The sacrifices they made and the precious gift brought about by their selfless devotion can never be repaid nor forgotten. We could not have won the battle against dictatorship without the irrepressible Nigerian journalists who mounted the barricades along with the pro-democracy activists. We celebrate them today, along with their media establishments, such as The Punch, The Guardian, National Concord, Tribune, The News and Tempo, and Tel magazines. The undemocratic government of the day proscribed these media establishments and jailed their journalists for standing for free speech and civil liberties and the sanctity of the June 12 elections. That's why the leather might of the authoritarian government, what appeared to be high and unyielding walls of dictatorship, came tumbling down. The dismal fortress exists no longer. The power of an idea, the power of the people proved more potent than all the guns, the munitions, and the threat of the strong men. The nation exited the yoke of dictatorship in 1999 to become the most populous democracy on African soil, the beacon of democratic self-determination for the black race and one of the largest democracies in the world. This change stands as a pivotal moment in human history. From this change, we shall never turn, nor shall annals of mankind's progress forget the sublime meaning of this great moment. Today, 25 years later, we celebrate the silver anniversary of our journey in democracy. We have studied the course. Democracy is neither a foreign no abstract concept devoid of real-life meaning for us. Neither can we afford to reduce or minimize it to being nothing but the mere holding of periodic elections where one candidate and party outdo another. While elections attract democratic attention, they are but one aspect of democracy. Democracy is a way of life that encompasses a broad outlook of which elections are but a part. As such, a nation can have elections without being democratic.
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live.
Here we go!
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live. Stay tuned.
Yes, welcome to the side of time. Welcome to beauty. Welcome to this class of politics and palm. Are you listening to me on X? Are you listening on Facebook? I'm happy you are listening. So keep listening and keep leaving your messages. If you are on X, let's repost. If you are on Facebook, let's share. Let's share as we go. Let me see what you're saying. On Facebook, let me see. Sorry about that interference. Bemini Obileye is on Facebook. He says Tinubu has been faithful as a party man. He hasn't rocked the boat. He simply continued where Buhari stopped and even took it notch higher. Seyi Makinde and Peter Obi are only playing to the gallery. They are no different from Tinubu. They are the principalities and powers holding us down as a people. That's coming from Bemini Obileye. Sunday Hade says if you like, walk on the water, your critics and your accusers will still accuse you of raising dust. I didn't vote for Tinubu, neither am I his party member, but I don't accuse or criticize blindly. In my opinion, what is bad in making a joke out of what happened to you, at least to subdue whatever uprising that wanted to ensue? Thank you, Sunday Hardy, for your views. Generalissimo Last Burn. Good to have you. Says the video is not on. Okay, there's no camera on me, but at least you can see my picture. I'm not presenting from the studio. That is why the camera is not on me. All right? Wale Amuson says, good morning, Edmond. Mr. President, misstep should not be any big deal because it can happen to anybody. Everybody knows, and he also knows he fell. So it's obvious he's just cracking a joke. Adedinro Benga Adewale says, good morning. Reactions to every situation differs. And his response was not bad. You can actually see on how Nigerians are going about his fall. That is making jest of him. Okay, who makes jest of a man who fell? Talk less of a president. You know, I can't watch that video again. I only watched it twice to be sure what happened. I cringed when I saw it. And he should do with his security man. None of them could even make any attempt. Anyway, perhaps protocol, he must be the one ahead of everyone. But I thought someone could have stepped up. You can't even explain. It was sad it happened. I didn't like the view. And do not make jest of the president at all. That would be in bad faith. Mark Padron is on Facebook. All right? He says, I know Mr. President is confused. Confused about the fall? Perhaps that's the point you are making. So if you're on Facebook, keep sharing. Let me see what you're saying on X. Let's go on X. X, let's repost. Where are the X messages? Okay, let me see. All right, I'm trying to look at the messages here on X. Who has reposted on X? You can also talk about the speech, Tinubu's speech, and I'll play Seyi Makinde's speech too. Oladele Dowu Joseph is on X. He says, downplaying his fall shows clearly Tinubu is a skillful manipulator. He always wants to get over every situation by making uninspiring jokes out of serious issues, which always ends up in ridiculing himself the more. Oladele Dowu Joseph on X. Akintunde Damilare is saying, good morning, Radio Man. How are you this morning? I'm fine, thank you. Damilare said, what happened to the president was a clear reflection of Nigeria that is falling down, and it needs to be rescued urgently. Akintunde Damilare. Damilare, how are you? Hirofunshi is on X. He says he fell and made a joke out of it. This shouldn't be an issue. We all know that Tinubu is used to throwing banters. Happened to everybody. Let us also remember that. I'm glad he didn't injure his head. That fall was not good at all. Yes, it wasn't a good fall. Dele Kulajo says, Edmund, you noticed in the video of the president's response that quite others laughed and clapped. The wife didn't. I guess the ones who know the real impact of the fall knows how not to take such a joke. I don't know how to take such a joke because that fall was a hard fall. It was not a dobale. It was a fall. If I fell that way, I wouldn't joke about it. And if I'm going to joke about it, you will see it as a joke. Don't tell me I'm confused about what I saw. No. But again, I also agree with your views. We see things from different perspectives. And Tinubu made that point in his definition of democracy. We can't see things from the same angle. And that is the beauty of human existence. That's what leads to discussions and the building of consensus. So let's talk. Michael Olufemi Oyebode says, good morning, Edmond. It was evident that Tinubu was trying to be sarcastic with his response. Only malicious people will say otherwise. Why do you need to use the word malicious? You have your view, so should we say your view is also malicious? Okay. Michael Olufemi Oyebode says, there is no doubt that he fell. And I personally don't expect any comment about it. Every human can fall. How can you not expect a comment when a president falls in the public? That means you are not realistic. In fact, if a president falls, that becomes the discourse. Okay? Comments will come, it will flow. Even Tinubu commented that Joe Biden falls too. You know, Tinubu almost fell again during his inauguration. Tinubu almost fell during his inauguration. You remember that? So, his security men should be conscious. He's aging. I don't know if he stepped on his agbada. He's aging. They should be very careful when he's climbing. Should be very careful. If need be, he should be supported. There's nothing wrong with that. At that age, he should be supported. Especially when climbing. All right. Where's that call coming from? Okay. Let me take this call. You can now call 080 999 18449. 080 999 18449. WhatsApp calls only. I'll take 2 or more calls before I go into the John Ayowade interview. Now, Seyi Makinde also delivered a State of the State broadcast. That was on June 13, 2024. He talked about agriculture. He talked about industrial revolution. He also called the federal government Kettle. That means the federal government is black. Let me take this call. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Okay. My name is Christian. I'm calling from Ibadan.
All right.
Hello.
I can hear you. Okay, let me take another call. Hello, Dio Francis.
Yeah, the great Edmond Obilo.
I greet you, Dio.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes. So, I was listening to the comment and the conversation this morning. The issue of the fall, French just being sarcastic about it. And I think
Dayo, can you bring your phone closer to your mouth so that you'll be richer?
Okay. What about now?
But you can go on, we can hear you, but you're not as rich.
Now?
It's better. Let's go on.
Okay, yeah. So I people own their narrative now. So when he was saying that, on social media, because you know how this is to travel. So the president was just trying to okay, let me play it down. But however, it's something that is a bit concerning because we are talking of the number one city. You know, I think the security people around him, they need to do more better, especially when he's climbing. I think he had a bad leg. So which is I can't really even say whether it's good or bad, but I just think his team need to do more work on him on that area, but it's something that a bit concerned. I just want to quickly touch a little bit on the democracy. I think democracy is still the best form of government. Democracy is still the best form of government. However, the great conversation should be, this is 25 years. Maybe we should try some other system. Maybe we should try the parliamentarian system or the regional system or the confederal system. You know, because this idea that governance is part of the dividends of democracy But also, we should not take away the freedom of expression, fundamental freedom of expression, because everything comes with democracy, but sometimes our democracy does not end in the tables of the president. Everything plays a role. So when we have this conversation, I think people should look democracy from more broader view than to look at it from only the president or one election cycle. No, one election cycle does not make democracy. We still need to practice democracy for long years to now, like, okay, maybe it's good for us. And all over the world right now, in a new age, people are advancing. They are looking up how to, you know, um, people are looking for new ideas, but we are still thinking, oh, maybe we should try military or whatever. I think those are not the kind of conversation we should have. I believe the kind of conversation we should have is around systems. What kind of systems can we practice to uphold this democracy? But democracy is still the best form of government. And for the first time this year, I think there were some names that started coming out, like when they mentioned Colonel Umaru, Dongua. Man, I was so happy. Olisa Bakuba, Frank Kokori, these people played prominent role during the democracy, especially Frank Kokori used to be the president of Pegasus back then.
All right.
And a lot of journalists, that all went to prison because of this democracy. So thank you, the radio man.
Thank you. Thank you, Dyer, for calling. He has made his point. Now, there is a book I will recommend to you. It is entitled The Tale of June 12, The Betrayal of the Democratic Rights of Nigerians. It is a book written by Professor Omo Omorui. And we will talk about Professor Omo Omorui. He was a renowned political scientist. He was the director of the Center for Democratic Study. You could say that he headed the political bureau during Babangida's time. He was a professor of political science at the University of Ibadan before getting to join the Babangida think tank. Another intellectual that was part of that think tank is Professor John Ayuade. He was part of the Center for Democratic Study. I'll come to Professor John Ayuade because he will take us into Babangida and June 12. What happened? But let me make this point. Primary and secondary education are the foundation upon which a country's future is built. These stages of education are crucial for the development of a nation, as they lead or foster critical thinking and problem-solving skills. You see, primary and secondary education helps students develop essential skills like critical thinking, problem-solving, and creativity. And these are vital for our country's economic and social progress. Quality primary and secondary education is investment in human capital. It enables the individual to contribute to the workforce, drive innovation, and fuel economic growth. Quality primary and secondary education promotes social mobility. What am I talking about? It levels the playing field, providing equal opportunities for all, regardless of background or socio-economic status. That is why we must take primary and secondary education seriously, because it develops responsible citizens. Education instills values, civic awareness, and social responsibility, shaping active citizens who can participate in the democratic process and contribute to societal development. It drives economic growth. Now, the poverty in the land is also a function of the poor education system. The citizens can't be innovative under this kind of structure. But once we improve education, people become educative and they grow their land. Quality primary and secondary education improve health and well-being, because education is linked to better health. It is linked to reduction of poverty, and it improves living standard. If you eat well, you become healthy. So, when Seyi Makinde, at the State of the State address, came to education, my ears were open. I wanted to hear clearly what the governor has to say. I remember about 2 weeks ago, I made the point that primary and secondary education in your state are going through hard times. You have primary schools where there are no chairs, where there are few teachers. There is no way we can have that sustainable future without investing billions into the education sector. I remember calling on the governor to rise and put in more money into the education sector, especially primary and secondary education. Perhaps the governor has been thinking before I even made that statement. And the governor has told us what he is thinking about the education sector. Let's listen to the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde.
You will also recall that starting with the 2024 budget, we allocated 15 billion naira annually for infrastructural renewal, classrooms and basic infrastructure in public primary and secondary schools in Oyo State. This, along with consistent payments of the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC counterpart funds, will help us significantly reduce the infrastructural deficit in our public schools. Just a small note on where we've been over this past 4+ years. UBEC intervention, that's a SUBEB. Everybody before now, if you appointed SUBEB chairman, people are coming to you thinking this is a lucrative appointment. But quite frankly, with the deficit that we have in Oyo State, if we continue, because SUBEB, their budget is about 3 billion yearly, sometimes 2.5. We pay 1.5 or 1.25, and then the federal government through UBEC, they will put in the counterpart portion of it. The deficit that we have is between 40 and 50 billion. Most of our schools, no fence, you have roofs that have collapsed. Some of our children, sitting on the floor to learn. So if we continue spending 3 billion consistently every year, it will take at least 15 years to close the gap. And we're quite aggressive. We want to close this gap in 3 years, starting from this year. What that means is that we will spend 15 billion every year consistently outside of UBEC superb intervention to close that gap. And we're starting with about 70 schools that have approved. Once our students go on holiday, by the time they come back for first time of the next academic year, at least 70 schools will have been completely taken out of having any infrastructural deficit.
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live.
Here we go.
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live. Stay tuned.
I must say thank you, Governor Seyi Makinde, for thinking of investing 15 billion per annum in the next 3 years to close the gap. It will go a long way. It might not solve all the problems, but it will go a long way. That investment will lead to sustainable development. Thank you, Mr. Governor. Also be thinking of bringing in more money. We need to improve that sector for your state to be the pace setter in education in Nigeria. The time to do that is now. And Mr. Governor, you are on the right path. 70 schools to be rehabilitated within the next 3 months. We need to do it so that our key into the future. And Mr. Governor understands it. Hello. 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 Okay, the caller. Political lies and lying to the Nigerian public. Professor John Ayuade speaks. He tells us the story of June 12. John Ayuade, Emeritus Professor of Political Science, University of Ibadan. A former President, Nigerian Political Science Association. He was Director of Studies, Center for Democratic Studies, Abuja from 1990 to 1995. So that center was crucial to the political thinking of the era, though most of their recommendations were not accepted. But it was a solid think tank. And Ayuade takes us into the story of June 12. What happened? What was the thinking of Babangida? How was it annulled? Let's start from there. How June 12 was annulled. The traps on the road.
There were so many clandestine things that were going on at the time. The way organizations sprang up, the way organizations challenged the electoral law.
And one of those organizations, Association for Better Nigeria, that was led by Oton Zeribe. Babangida created it. Are you saying so?
Well, the general belief is that Babangida created it. And the reason they think that Babangida created it is that the Association for Better Nigeria violated the rules because it challenged the electoral law itself, which they had said was sacrosanct. So instead of arresting Nzeribe himself, he did not arrest him.
Let's read from your work.
Yeah.
I want to read from page 30 of this work. And I'm going to start from the second line on page 30. Don't forget, this is a class of politics and power. And the lecturer in the class today is Emeritus Professor John Ayuade. We are analyzing history, politics, and power. We are breaking down his work, the political lies, and lying to the Nigerian public. This is the work we are analyzing. So I want to read from here. The objective of Association for Better Nigeria was to keep Babangida in power. You said that?
Yeah.
It demanded 4 more years of military rule, arguing that Nigeria was not ripe for democratic rule. Was that not a red flag?
It was a red flag, but people thought that if there was no backing from Aso Rock, it would not work.
At that time, Babangida had moved to Aso Rock.
Oh, yeah.
From Dodan Barak.
Yeah, yeah. He had moved from Lagos to
Abuja. The fact that the activities of ABN were not stopped by the military government convinced people that the ABN was a baby of the military government.
Yeah.
In fact, it could not have been otherwise, because the Association for Better Nigeria violated the National Electoral Commission decree without reprisals. The leadership of ABN included Senator Francis Oton Nzeribe, Abimbola Davis, Jerry Okoro, and allegedly Brigadier General Haliru Akilu of the Directorate of Military Intelligence. Why allegedly?
Allegedly because we did not have any document showing his name. But because he was in charge of military intelligence, he was also supposed to be able to do something about ABN, but he did nothing about it.
You continue. The ABN claims to have over 25 million members. The figure was spurious, as the members were not visible on the streets. The ABN filed a suit on June 11, 1993, at the Abuja High Court to stop the election, and the order was granted by Justice Ita Ikpeme. Babangida used the courts, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you feel that Ita Ikpeme should have been punished?
Oh, definitely. In fact, Ita Ikpeme wasn't initially in the court system. She wasn't in the judicial system. She worked in the chambers of Apangbo, who was the Attorney General. And she was more or less brought in for that purpose.
Just like that?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah. So, it was a military government. It was a near totalitarian government.
Or it was totalitarian?
Well, I would say near totalitarian.
Why near? They could use the courts.
Near in the sense that even when he had total powers, he was still afraid of exercising or exhibiting the totality of the power.
You said the National Electoral Commission, relying on the ouster clause in the Electoral Decree 13 of 1993, went ahead to conduct the election. While the results were trickling in, the ABN again approached the Abuja High Court to stop the announcement of the results. The petition was granted by no other than the Chief Judge of Abuja, Justice Dahiru Saleh himself, in spite of the fact that the decree ousted the jurisdiction of the court. Oh.
Yeah, the decree said it wasn't subject to court process. But then the Chief Judge of Abuja sat over it, and nobody punished him for violating the law itself.
I think he made the argument that the election ought not to have held on that 12th of June.
Why shouldn't it have held?
Because there was already a court judgment.
The court judgment itself was in fact an abuse of the court process.
So this was Babangida playing the game of deception.
Because once there is the ouster clause in the law itself, why would the court now go ahead to say that the election must not be held?
You said on June 23rd, 1993, Babangida annulled the election and suspended the National Electoral Commission, arguing that the step was taken to save our judiciary from being ridiculed and politicized locally and internationally.
So who is the offender? Who is now being protected? The judiciary is the offender. Because you are protecting the judiciary because you don't want it to be ridiculed. The only way it could have been ridiculed is if it did the wrong thing. So the judiciary did the wrong thing. That's why you have to protect it so that it's not ridiculed. So you now protect the offender instead of allowing the system to go on.
The point you make in this literature that these processes were different forms of Babangida's lies.
Yeah. It's we were not told everything about what was going on.
There's this part that interests me a lot. That's page 31. You said, of course, there were powerful non-state political actors in the background.
Yeah.
Breathing down heavily on the government. Early in 1993, a delegation of the Center for Democratic Studies visited the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Dasuki, on a transition sensitization visit. After the formalities, the hall was cleared and the Sultan requested the representatives of the management of the CDS to advise Babangida not to proceed with the election because according to him, neither MKO Abiola nor Bashir Tofa was qualified to be the president. The management of CDS replied that it was already late to stop the process because the candidates were already on the campaign trail and the nation was expectant. The Sultan said that if the management of CDS could not advise President Babangida to stop the election, he would do himself.
Yeah.
Do you think that the conflict in the Mambila is an economic conflict? There's this part that interests me a lot. That's page 31. You said, of course, there were powerful non-state political actors in the background.
Yeah.
Breathing down heavily on the government. Early in 1993, a delegation of the Center for Democratic Studies visited the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Dasuki, on a transition sensitization visit. After the formalities, the hall was cleared and the Sultan requested the representatives of the management of the CDS to advise Babangida not to proceed with the election because according to him, neither MKO Abiola nor Bashir Tofa was qualified to be the president. The management of CDS replied that it was already late to stop the process because the candidates were already on the campaign trail and the nation was expectant. The Sultan said that if the management of the campaign, if the management of CDS could not advise President Babangida to stop the election, he would do himself.
Yes.
That is the Sultan here.
Yeah.
How would you interpret this?
There were what I would call powers behind the throne. Although the throne is higher than everybody, but there are also powers behind who, interestingly, were stronger than the throne, more powerful than the throne.
Can the Sultan be that powerful?
It could be that powerful religiously. He is taken as the head of all Muslims. So that's one area where he could exercise that power and influence. The other is, we said at the beginning that a lie is something, you lie because you want to benefit from it. So, or you lie, or you believe a lie because it agrees with what you also want, what you were thinking before. So, if the Sultan tells Babangida something that agrees with what Babangida wanted, of course, they are collinear. They are in agreement, and therefore he would obey. And I think that there was a lot of that, because spiritual leader, but as we say in politics, there's also politics behind the scene, which sometimes determines something. There are things that nobody is ever told. Politics works at night most of the time, and politicians are night animals.
Yeah.
So, and you never, there are no minutes of such meetings, and the minutes are in the minds of the participants. So it's a question of what's going on, which is not in the public domain.
Why the night? Because as a political reporter, I won't find myself working at night to know what the politicians are doing. Why do they like the night?
They like the night most of the time because they want to exclude other people. Women have been complaining that one of the reasons women are not many in politics is that it's a nocturnal game, and they are not given to that kind of thing. Second reason why it is a night game is that usually after the official meeting that they hold, if you find politicians say, "Hi, how are you? Very good. Where are you going now?" "I'm going home." "Okay, we'll see you later." There's going to be another meeting.
What can you take away from that statement by the Sultan? Do you now feel that the North was afraid of the coming of Abiola?
From what the Sultan was alleged to have said at the meeting with CDS management, he felt that not just the North, but also himself would not benefit from a Southern president, at least not benefit maximally from a Southern president. And so he would also, just like ABN, he would also want Babangida that he knows to continue. So the devil you know is better than the one you don't know.
But Abiola was their friend.
Abiola was their friend. There is also a limit. There are gradations of friendship, hierarchies of friendship. Abiola was definitely a lower hierarchy of friend to the Sultan than Babangida.
Babangida is not a Fulani.
It's not a Fulani, although at some point he also claimed that he was Fulani from Sokoto. So there was an attempt to be. And if there is that attempt, there will be no limit to such attempts.
There's this part that interests me a lot. That's page 31. You said, of course, there were powerful. Do you think that the conflict in the Mambila is an economic conflict?
I think so.
Why do you think so?
It all boils down to
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live.
Here we go.
State Affairs with Edmond Obilo is live. Stay tuned.
There's this part that interests me a lot. That's page 30. Yes, the discourse with Professor John Ayuade will continue. It is like exploring the history of June 12. And I recommend the lecture he delivered to you, an incisive lecture on history, politics and power, entitled Political Lies and Lying to the Nigerian Public. Babangida, Abacha, and Obasanjo Lies. You want to get that piece? You will find it on udarabooks.com. It's incisive, sweet reading. You'll find it on udarabooks.com. You can also contact me on my WhatsApp number if you are interested in John Ayuade's lecture entitled Political Lies and Lying to the Nigerian Public. You can contact me on my WhatsApp number 08039 18449. That is 08039 18449 is the same WhatsApp number that you would call when I open the lines to get your views. Then another work that you should read is the book by Professor Omo Omori entitled The Tale of June 12, The Betrayal of the Democratic Rights of Nigerians. The annulment of free, fair, and credible elections anywhere and at any time has constituted and still constitutes a gross betrayal of citizens' rights to human. In the book talks about developments in Algeria, Burma, and other places. In the book, you'll read about how Nigerians joined in the ranks of countries denying the right of choice to their citizens when on June 23rd, 1993, the presidential election held 2 weeks earlier was annulled by virtue of a statement unsigned and undated issued on a piece of paper that bore no seal of government. How did he know? The author was an insider. So the tale of June 12 examines the issues and events surrounding the bizarre and momentous decision. Professor Omo Omori was General Babangida's friend and closest political confidant throughout his 8-year stint as military president. Thus, His account of the June 12 presidential election debacle is both authentic and reverting. Once and for all, it puts paid to all the rumors, speculations, and outright lies that passed for analysis of one of the most turbulent periods of Nigeria's checkered political history. I recommend The Tale of June 12, The Betrayal of the Democratic Rights of Nigerians to you. You will find the book on udarabooks.com. udarabooks.com. You can also get it by contacting me on my WhatsApp number. Stay tuned. I'll be back with Professor John Ayuade to tell you more stories about what happened during the time. Hello, I am Edmond Obilo. The station is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station.
It has been 5 years since our administration took over the highest office of governance in Oyo State. From day one, our promise has been to restore the dignity and pride of the good people of Oyo State, so that we maintain our mantra as the state of first, the pacesetter state. In all this time, we have prioritized our economy and taken steps that put us ahead of all other states in times of crisis. Then, this is because we have always had your support as we made people first decisions. I always say to people, oh, they come around and say the State Assembly, they are rubber stamp. In as much as we have alignment on what we want to deliver for our people, what again are we fighting or dragging about? So we'll continue to maintain the cordial relationship between the executive, the legislative, and the judicial arms of government. Some have said we make populist decisions. Well, our decisions are not populist because they are not anti-elite or anti-establishment. I don't know if Dr. Moronkola Thomas is here. Okay, Doctor, your job of political sensitization is cut out for you. Total support to do that. Because we know that the source of our mandate, except God the Father and the people of Oyo State. And that's why you're not having issues like in other states where godfathers are fighting godsons. That's not happening in Oyo State because there's no godfather. The people have shown us that they believe in us. And that from the average of about 4.2 billion monthly in 2023, we have moved to an average of 4.95 billion. Take this opportunity to thank the good people of Oyo State, willing taxpayers of Oyo State. Each time we execute a need, you are part of this success. It has been a tough year with untold hardships for our people. But as I've always said, our administration was built for times like this. Like the eagle, we rise. From accelerated development to sustainable development, we've always believed in taking a completely different approach to the economic development of our dear state. This is why when fuel subsidy and the peg on the dollar was removed, while we were thinking of short, medium, and long-term solutions, we came up with sustainable actions. SAFER has various components, including a food relief package, transport subsidy, which one of you mentioned, I think is Honorable Babajide. We're still subsidizing to almost about every month between 77 and 80 million. We give it to them, pay for diesel, ensure the buses are on the road, and the vulnerables in our environment should pay half the normal fare. So that is still ongoing and we're sustaining it. We also had measures, food security measures, provision of health insurance, and support for small and micro enterprises and civil servants. I just signed a file for the Assembly because the Right Honorable Speaker came to me and said SAFER has been saving lives in this Assembly. So I said, let's continue to save more lives. These interventions have directly impacted the development of our dear states. The food relief package went to 200,000 poorest of the poor households. We use this component to stimulate our economy, as the food items distributed were locally sourced and purchased from our traders in all the zones where distribution was done. We did not take Gari from Ibadan, but from Oyo to Shaki. The purchases were done locally. So anything distributed in Okiogun too, for instance, were purchased in that locality. Same for Ibarapa. Our transport subsidy has so far provided the vulnerable people, they pay 50% less for the Omituntun bus service. And currently we have 64 buses plying. For the health insurance component, we paid 2024 health insurance coverage for 40,000 pensioners and refunded 2023 payments totaling 145,901,328 naira in state-owned tertiary institutions, and 84,000 vulnerable persons are also being enrolled in the Oyo State Health Insurance Agency scheme under SAFER. Our food security and business stimulation components were designed as medium to long-term solutions. For example, We disbursed 1 billion naira as low-interest loans to 3,525 smallholder farmers. This money will be recycled exponentially, subject to repayment, as $500 million naira safer for youth entrepreneurship in agribusiness projects. That is 500 million naira for those youths that we sent to Nasarawa. Somebody mentioned it here, and because we have put our money where our mouth is, others are joining in, they are pitching in. So I'd like to use this opportunity to thank banks like First City Monument Bank, FCMB, who have decided that our youths are worth investing in and are providing matching funding to our YEP beneficiaries.
The program is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. So you can call the radio station, let me hear from you. Make your call brief and straight to the point so that we can take enough calls. So you call on WhatsApp 08039 18449. We are talking about June 12 now. You listened to Professor John Ayuade in that first interview. The second part is coming soon. What do you have to say? Tinubu falls. Is Nigeria falling? Tinubu falls. Is Nigeria falling? When a country falls, does it mean the president will fall? When Seyi says it is the case of the kettle calling pot black, what is he talking about? The program is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. It's about politics. It's about power. It's also about history. You listened to Professor John Ayuade in that interview about June 12. That is part 1 of the interview. I'll bring you part 2 as we go. What do you think about some of the points he made in that interview? What is your perception of the question of power that led to the annulment of the June 12 election? So you can call on WhatsApp 08039 18449. That is 08039 18449. You listen to the first part of the interview with Professor John Ayuade. You have anything to say? Tinubu falls. Is Nigeria falling? Yes. Tinubu falls. Is Nigeria falling? What does Peter Obi think? After 1 year of Tinubu's time, is Nigeria falling? Okay, I'll take this call before I go to Obi. Hello. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello, Radio Man. Good morning, my friend. Hope you are fine.
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you.
It have been a few days. I've been away to school, so not always listening to your program. Even though sometimes I use Facebook, but the network glitch, everything here and there always caused it. I've been your journey.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I love you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being an activist in this present time, especially for we students. Yeah, God bless you.
Thank you.
God bless you. So I will start with me. I quote when you are talking about weakness of our president. Physical weakness is not a sign of intellectual incapability. You can be weak, but
hello. Hello. Okay. I think network.
in their mind.
Okay.
So it's between all the parties that are available in Nigeria, between APC and PDP and Labour Party. Tinubu knows that he is weak, but he wants to show other political leaders, especially the likes of Atiku, the likes of Peter Obi, that he's not weak. So he wants to just make it casually, just make a joke out of it, which is wrong. In Africa, you can be weak. I always say it that age is just a number. Joe Biden, Donald Trump, they are far, far older than Tinubu. They are far, far older than it. But we know that the political system in Africa, they are not capable enough. Our leaders, they are not technocrats at all. So you can be weak, but as for me, as for human being, you can just come out and, just as you said, you can make some good out of your weakness. As I've said, physical weakness is not a sign of intellectual incapability. Actually, anybody can fall. Anybody can fall. So I will move to Seyi Makinde that Seyi Makinde urged us to vote Tinubu. I love Seyi Makinde so much. But since I heard that he wants Tinubu to enter, it's just because of the glitch that happens in their party. Atiku want to emerge as the president, as a primary presidential candidate. So he deflected to the likes of he wants Wike to emerge, but eventually that did not happen. So he asked the Yorubas, the Ibadan, to follow Tinubu, which is not right.
Hello.
We can see everything that is happening. Now we can see that they are not even giving us anything. And Seyi Makinde is not even among those that are suffering in Nigeria. May God help us. And to democracy, Tinubu said they respect democracy. Do they even respect democracy themselves? They did not. I always find it difficult that Tinubu, that cannot stay during NSAS protest, is now coming to be our president, and we voted for him, which is right. Is all these rigging that are happening in the country shows that they respect democracy enough? No, they do not respect democracy at all. They are just a selfish set of people. We just need a leader, a right mindset leaders that will rule us. You see, I posted something on my status during the week. I said, we are talking about Nigeria, everything is happening in Nigeria. So I was like, they have handcuffed us by the shooting that happened at Lekki. So I don't think there could be protest again. My friend replied to my status. He said, what happened at Lekki? What bring about what happened at Lekki is because of NSAS. But if hunger actually triggers another protest, we know that people are hungry nowadays. We know that something can change. The only thing that can change what is happening in this country is just a massive protest, and that's if it triggers by hunger. We know that what triggers the NSAS protest at Lekki is because of NSAS, the Yahoo boys, everybody they say NSAS are too much. So, and I want to talk about education shaping the economy, shaping our.
I won't let you go further. You've taken 5 minutes already. Okay. Just round off with education.
Okay, what I want to say is that education is a green light of any society. Okay, my friend said riches and wealth, they are both the same thing. But I want to use wealth in the context of health. Education is a green light of the society, but they have make education, our African parents, their mentality is that they want to send their children to school to be rich, to be wealthy, which is wrong. Education wants to shape the environment. If we actually see education in the aspect of creating a healthy environment for ourselves, we are getting that actually wrong in Nigeria. So everybody is going to school. All their mindset now is that I want to make money. I want to leverage my family out of poverty. Then when the money is not coming, so we tend to do another thing, which brings youth becoming internet frauds, everything here and there.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. I give him 6 minutes. Nobody will take more than 2 minutes again. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Turn down the volume of your radio. Hello, good morning.
Hello. Yeah, good morning, the radio man.
Yeah, Mr. Toya Brown.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bilo. Well done this morning. Sorry, I linked you a bit late, but I don't think I lost all. The last prof has given an insight of what the Nigerian politics is, the polity in Nigeria. But let me just go about the June 12. MKO Abiola was a towering figure in business, academic, politics, etc. And the oligarchies, I use that word now, I don't want oligarchies, who had grip on power in Nigeria, will not allow the emergence of people like Abiola, because they know that if Abiola emerges, it's not going to be the music will not play the same way. It's not things as usual. Things will change. And that was why they had that palace queue inside and unlearned and all that June 12. But again, when we talk about the president fall, I saw the video, and the first word that came out of my mouth said, "Sorry, Mr. President." That was the word I used. In fact, my wife was there and said, I said, "Sorry, Mr. President." And all of them said, "Sorry, Mr. President," because he's our president.
Yes.
Anybody could fall. It could happen to anyone. And just, he rightly said it. The bodyguard, these people, the security men should guide him. The man is getting old, and maybe step on his agbada while climbing that step. So they should guide his agbada when he's climbing. They have more job to do. It's not just because I saw them following him. This man is not a spring chicken now, you know. So I think for us, Nigeria, we shouldn't cry about it. Though he made a joke about it, but I mean, anybody can fall. Most of the Western leaders, most of them have fallen. We knew a lot of them. So we should not make it at all. We should say sorry to our president. It's our president. It could happen to anybody. But let me take a quote here about leadership from Lawrence Peter. Which direction are we going? And he said, real constructive mental power lies in the creative thoughts that shapes your destiny, and your hour-by-hour mental conduct produces power for change in your life. Develop a train of thought on which to write. The nobility of your life as well as your happiness depends upon the direction in which that train of thought is going. Which train? Where is our thought today? Why the train of thought? The National Assembly is bringing out, we talked about the structuring, state police, and we are waiting for that. Where is our thought? What are we thinking about? How do we want Nigeria? Nigeria, are we talking about federation, confederation? Are we talking about regional government? Which one will serve us better? Which one will serve us best? Where is the train of our thoughts? And so I think that what going forward, today is that I'm urging the president at the National Assembly should look at ways of bringing that policy that will shape our life, bring our thoughts to fruition, give us a regional, maybe it's regional or restructuring, whatever, or even parliamentary, whichever system that they think that could. Because if you're doing one thing over and over and you are not getting results, of course, some philosophers say it's like it's an insanity. So what are we talking about? What is the direction I thought? Thank you very much, my brother. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Tony Brown. Yes. Tinubu's government. What is Peter Obi's view of the administration? Peter Obi was on Arise television. Let's listen to his definition of what is going on at the moment.
Well, I've never made comment about 1 year in office. The reason why is simple. I would say that President Tinubu have kept to his campaign promises. Throughout the campaign, he consistently maintained that he will continue from where Buhari stopped. And that is done very well. I would say excellent. I'll give him an excellent pass mark. And it's very simple. Dollar was 460, is now 1,005. Fuel was 238, is now about 700. Diesel was 844, is now 1,415. A bag of rice is 35,000, is now about 80. A bag of beans was similar, 35, is now about 90. Gari was 27.28, is now 49.50. A tuber of yam was about 2,007 to 3,000, now is about 10,000. Tomato basket is about 40,000, that is over 150,000. Electricity is 66 kilowatts, is now over 200. You can go on and on. Our debts, even bread, which is a basic thing other countries that subside, like Egypt, bread, smaller, medium bread was 450 naira. It's now 900 naira. The big one is 900, is 1,005. Our debt, like I mentioned, was 87. By end of last year, it was actually 97. The highest we've done within that short period. Now is over 100 trillion. In fact, this year alone, the government, through the Central Bank of Nigeria, have issued and taken from the system borrowing of over 16 trillion naira. You can imagine the interest at almost 20% is about 3.2 trillion after 12 months. At that, last year, in a period of 9 months, we spent about 5.7 trillion servicing as debt interest on our payments. So add that. So overall, you've done well. Let's even go back to the overall of the economy. By the time he took over last year, we were still the biggest economy in Africa with $477 billion as our GDP. followed by South Africa, Egypt, Algeria, and Morocco. Today, we are number 4. South Africa is number 1 now, I think about $373 billion. Egypt is second, $347 billion, followed by Algeria, 266. And we are now 252 billion GDP economy. It's even worse when you go to our per capita. We are actually 1/4 of per capita of the list of these nations that I mentioned. South Africa is over 6,000 per capita. Egypt is 4,000 plus. So is Algeria. And then Morocco, which among this is supposed to be the 5th, at 4,210, and we are 1,000 plus. So we actually gone low. We're coming from a low of per capita of 3,000 plus in 2014. So every other thing have headed south. You see, insecurity is worsened.
Well,
corruption has worsened.
Let's
adherence to the rule of law has worsened. The country has been nepotism is at the highest.
That is Peter Obi defining Tinubu's era on Arise Television. What do you think? That Tinubu has kept to his promise that he will continue from where Buhari stopped. So Peter Obi is saying the hardship has grown. That is where Buhari stopped. That's Peter Obi's view. You will hear Tinubu's view. But what is Seyi Makinde thinking? Seyi Makinde gave a State of the State address on the 13th of June. That address was presented on the floor of the Oyo State House of Assembly. Seyi Makinde talked about industrial revolution in Oyo State. He talked about insecurity. He talked about the alleviation of poverty. So when he was talking about industries in Ibadan, in Oyo State, he defined the federal government's character when it comes to local government autonomy and management of the economy as Kettle calling Port Black. So let's listen to Governor Seyi Makinde. Is his statement in tune with what Peter Obi is saying? Will Tinubu agree? Tinubu will answer as we go. Seyi Makinde, Governor of Oyo State, on state affairs.
Argument with the federal government. Oh, you want autonomy for the local government. The governors are the ones misusing local government money. The governors are the ones getting additional money from FARC. You know, it's a case of Kettle calling Port Black, because if, I mean, any money that comes into the federation account is shared between the federal government, the state government, and the local government. So, and the federal government takes, I believe, 52% of that money. So if 28% are suddenly gone up, what will happen to 52%? We're taking from the same pot. We have exchange rate problems. Okay, naira to dollar has gone to this extent. But the bottom line is you cannot fix those challenges except we become productive. So for us in Oyo State, I've asked them, all the multinationals are leaving. the industrial manufacturers are also not comfortable. They are leaving. When we went to Morocco, we sat down with the AfriCorp. They invested about $100 million in Mocha foam. When they invested the $100 million, it was seen as a percentage of their turnover. But suddenly they make their money in Naira. And exchange rate went from 400 Naira to the dollar to 1,000 plus. Now, they will have to do their calculations and say, okay, so we invested in Nigeria. The turnover now, X billion of Naira suddenly is 1/3 of the value when they invested. So you have to engage the people. You have to let them know that, well, yes, this is temporary. At some point, we will turn the corner. Rather than us pointing accusing fingers and saying, look, this is not getting more money from the common pot. We need to be productive. It's productivity, productivity, and productivity that will solve the problem for us. So for us in Oyo State, we have been having interest from outside of Nigeria. So that tells me that we're doing what is right, and our fundamentals are really, really very strong.
Does that speech by Makinde suggest that he is in tune with the view of Peter Obi? What do you think? Are they saying the same thing, but from different angle? What has Tinubu got to say about the points that have been raised? The theme of the point is economic hardship. Tinubu delivered our broadcast to the people on June 12. He mentioned economic hardship. Hello, Mr. President.
And now that I say to you here, and now that as we celebrate the enshrinement of our political democracy, let us commit ourselves to the fulfillment of equally important counterpart, the realization of our economic democracy. I understand the economic difficulties we face as a nation right now. Our economy has been in desperate need of reform for decades. It has been unbalanced because it was built on the flawed foundations and over-reliance on revenue from exploitation of oil. The reforms we have initiated are intended to create a stronger, better foundation for future growth. There is no doubt that the reform has occasioned hardship. I feel your pains. Yet there are necessary repairs required to fix the economy over the long run so that everyone has access to economic opportunity, fair pay, and compensation for his endeavor and labor. As we continue to reform the economy, I shall always listen to the people and will never turn my back on you.
Okay. Is that a president accepting the points that Peter Obi made? The points that Seyi Makinde made? Seyi Makinde alluded to the fallen standard of the economy, saying all hands should be on deck The federal government should stop blaming the state government. So, I'll take one or two calls on that subject before I call for this break. So what do you think? Was Peter Obi right? Is Seyi Makinde right? Is Tinubu right? Because Tinubu said he feels your pain. So he knows that there is pain in the land. Economic pain. So you call 08039. Okay, Barrister Jiruka is here. Barrister Jiruka.
Hello, Edmund.
All right.
Good morning again. Are you hearing me properly?
Yes, I can hear you.
You see, there are certain things that are undeniable. And writers have a funny way of putting it. They say even the deaf can hear, or even the blind can see. When something is so glaring, so definitively glaring, you say, oh, that the country is in a bad shape. It's not something anybody can argue against. But you know, the good thing is that everybody feels the pain. Even the wealthiest Nigerian, according to Dangote, he said knew that his wealth has plummeted from what it was when Jonathan was president. The person, he knew his wealth has plummeted. So nobody can deny it. In fact, anybody who is a diehard Buhari fan, diehard Tinubu fan, if he's not careful, we're going to argue with his wife or his husband, who is not in his line of it, that the money I gave to you is not. He will receive a tongue lash from that spouse. Are you not one of those who brought this calamity on us? Go and sit down, my friend. So the three of them are saying the truth. They are saying the same thing. The issue I wanted to address frontally is the issue about lying, which was which brought in the focus of Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. Babangida is a consummate liar. He's a consummate liar. Babangida is one of the few Nigerians that have not been able to fix in a permanent place. This is a goodie or this is a baddie. I'll try hard. I can't fix him as a goodie. I can't fix him as a baddie or as a consummate liar. There's no doubt about it. And the issue of telling lies is a problem common to humanity. Telling lies is second nature to man. You have to make a conscious effort to overcome it, to subdue it, and to overpower it if you want to develop and mature spiritually and mentally. And that is why over the years, so many countries have proverbs that pay attention to this one. For example, they say there's a Spanish proverb who said, a Spanish proverb that says, he who believes too easily collects water in a sieve. If you believe too easily, collect water in a sieve. More subjective to you here to serious thinking and rationalization. And the Belgians have a proverb that one doesn't open one's mouth any wider to tell a lie than to tell the truth. But whether you are telling the truth or like this, diameter of your mouth, the circumference will still remain the same. There's no way the people will know. And there is a Talmud proverb that says truth is heavy. That's why few people care to carry it. Truth is heavy. You really have to be ready and willing to carry it. It's true. The truth is heavy. Many of the truth we say on this program over the years. If you are not willing to carry it, it's heavy. Many people know what I'm saying. They will never say. They run away from it. That is the fact. And in fact, the Yorubas consummate everything with their own proverb that the mouth of a liar does not drip blood. You see somebody telling the truth now, and somebody lying, but the amount still remains the same. If the person telling the lie, he's telling the lie, we say, well, I know you people don't believe the truth. You know people don't believe the truth. He knows what he's telling is lying. But the Yoruba say how they wish that God has fashioned mankind, that when somebody is telling lie, his mouth will be dripping blood. We are where we are today because of the cowardice of people in leadership position. They never wanted Abiola to be president because if that man becomes president, you can't steal again. All those they can't steal again. They can't steal again. That's why they didn't want him as president. The most qualified person at the time he contested and won that election. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Barrister Ijeruka. All right, we'll go for this break, so stay tuned. The program is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. Do you think that the conflict in the Mambila is an economic conflict?
I think so.
Why do you think so?
It all boils down to people's ability to share livelihood resources, which is mostly tied to the availability of land. So for the farmer, he uses the land. For the Fulani herdsman, he needs the land. And for the sapphire miner, he needs the land. So these three livelihoods are all tied to the land, the natural resources. And as a result, where there isn't an understanding, there's bound to be conflict. And that's what you have. I think it's an economic conflict. I can't tie it to religion because most people in the Mambilas are Muslims. So we can't also now say it's a fight between the Muslim and the Christians. No, it could be tribal, but it's definitely not religious.
You said, and so it was, earlier in June 2017, the conflict between the Fulani and the Mambilas happened. The pictures of the slaughtering of the Fulani people and their cattle left to die slow, painful deaths was traumatizing. In your work, you state, arguably, hundreds of Fulanis were killed and over 20,000 cows were acclaimed to be killed or stolen. Houses and settlements belonging to the Fulanis were razed down. Then General Benjamin likened the carnage to that of the terrorist Boko Haram attack, and the Fulanis called it an ethnic cleansing. This is huge. Why are you telling this story?
It would give some insight and bring some balance into the ongoing discourse around the Fulani and the farmer crisis, especially with regards to the incidents in Benue State. What I find a lot is that people's perspectives or narratives of what's happening is a bit biased and not balanced. In all of that, the Fulani herdsman or the Fulanis are never a victim. It appears to be like they are constantly the violators, and they haven't been on the receiving end. So here I am. I've been in places where I have seen them as victims and where I have seen them grieve too and at the receiving end. So I thought that angle could help people rethink their perspectives. This is not to say I'm dismissing the views anybody holds, but I'm just saying, stand on the other side and see if you could have a mind shift on anything at all that you hold right now on these issues.
You raised the case of media bias while you examined the bloodlettings.
Yes, I did mention that because until I went to the Mambila Plateau, I, for example, didn't know that level of violence happened in any part of this country. I didn't see it in the social media. Like I said, Premium Times, Sahara Reporters, and all of them did report these things when it happened. But you'd realize that a lot of people get their news from the social media platform, likewise myself. So things that don't stream on my timelines would mostly appear to be things that are not important. So I never heard of this crisis. And the magnitude of it did require a lot of media attention, if you ask me, but it didn't get that.
Is this an indictment of the Nigerian media?
The traditional media did capture this news, but for some reason, I think that the average Nigerian is interested in themselves, and perhaps it could give us an insight to the side of the Fulanis who may not be active on the social media. So as a result, there might be something they are missing, or there might be something we're unable to know about them. There's a gap in communication, long and short, and it could be something we may look into.
You are not happy with the response of the Nigerian president to these bloodlettings in the country?
My feeling is that human life is cheap. Life is cheap here. This is about the only country where I still drive and I see cops, human cops on the road, and nobody stops. It's the country where you would hear that 100 people died and there is nothing from the president, and it's just business as usual. But if we did hear that 50 people died in America, I'm sure that there could be condolence visits and all of that. I just think it's bias, and even in that, we select people who deserve to be grieved for and people who do not deserve to be grieved for. The president can do more. It's always my argument that there's a big gap in communication. It doesn't take too much, because for some of the times you realize that, okay, they're still active. His Twitter handle is active. His other media platforms are active, but it is insensitive of them not to feel the temperature of the people, or how the people are feeling, what's happening, and react accordingly. So it's just the way I see it.
Are we losing our humanity as a people?
I think so, especially when it comes to violence and the responses that we give to it. It becomes normative, and it shouldn't be. Death doesn't shock us anymore. We pretend to honor the dead for just a day or so, perhaps put up a Facebook post or make a comment, and the next time you move on. Perhaps it's something that happens in societies where people are more focused on survival than living. So there really isn't time to waste, because you have to work hard to survive the next minute. So I think we're losing our humanity. The level of violence in the country is huge. It's too much. It's unbelievable.
You remind us of Ado Ali Juli, the community leader. He felt pain. He needed justice. Can he get justice?
The question would also be,
Yes, it is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. See, Machiavelli argued that those who deceive would always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. You will find that statement in Professor John Ayuade's lecture entitled Political Lies and Lying to the People. Professor John Ayuade tells the story of June 12, taking us into the intrigues of the time. He is speaking as a participant. He saw what happened during the time. John Ayuade, Emeritus Professor of Political Science, was President Nigerian Political Science Association from 1987 to 1989. He was Director of Studies, Center for Democratic Studies, Abuja, from 1990 to 1995. He saw what happened. They were members of the think tank, and he tells the story in that lecture. Now, let's listen to part 2 of the John Ayuwade interview on the June 12th election. While reading your work, you have made the point that perhaps Babangida wanted to remain in office.
Yeah.
But you also make the point in this work that there was a plan that after Babangida, it would be the turn of Abacha. You believe there was that plan?
What I will call the things in the air was that there was an Egyptian style succession that was planned. That Babangida would take the first shot, Abacha would follow, and then Joshua Dogoyaro would succeed Abacha. That is the rumor in the air. And of course, Babangida had stayed in. And after he annulled the election, part of the things that was also in the air, that was alleged, is that having annulled the election, he annulled the election so that he would not hand over to Abiola, because that would disrupt the plan in the books. And when you look at the interim national government decree, there is a subtle succession that is arranged in the in the national government decree. Yes. Now that if Shoneka could not handle the situation, the most senior military man will take over.
And Abacha was the most senior military
without
man.
naming names, Abacha was the successor.
Because some even wondered, why didn't he retire Abacha when he was living?
Well, it's part of the thing that we were not told.
So they were lying to Nigerians.
Of course, they were lying to Nigerians.
And Nigerians bought their lies.
Nigerians bought their lies. First, they were helpless. There was not much you could do to a military government arranging things among themselves. The other thing is Nigerians also thought that at some point the lies would explode. And it did.
We've talked about Babangida. Now, there is a book I'll be recommending to you. Look at this book by Mark Sulin, Soldiers of Fortune. Nigerian Politics from Buhari to Babangida, 1983 to 1993. You look at this work. If you want to study how the military governed from 1983 to 1993, when Babangida handed over, did he hand over? When he stepped aside and Shonekon took over. This is the book for you. You will get this book on udarabooks.com. Go on the store, udarabooks.com, and get your copy of this work. The years between 1984 and 1993 were momentous for Nigeria. Military rule crafted the conditions and character of today's society, forcing cataclysmic changes on the political, economic, and religious landscape that nearly tore the country apart on several occasions. Soldiers of Fortune is a fast-paced, thrilling yet objective analysis of the major events of the Buhari and Babangida eras. The book reveals the true story behind past controversies, such as the annulment of the June 12 election, the execution of Muhammad Vassar, the foiled kidnapping of Umaru Diko, the Oka coups, and the assassination of Dele Giwa. Read this book and enjoy politics and history. Another book I am recommending to you, he talked about the Oka coup there. The author of this book is one of the executioners of the Oka coup. Look at this classical work on the Oka coup. It is entitled Exploitation and Instability in Nigeria, the Oka coup in Perspective, written by Sowaribi Tulafari. Hey, read this book if you are interested in Nigerian history, politics and power. The Oka coup almost succeeded, but somehow Babangida survived the coup. So what happened? Why did they plan the coup? What was their intention? Is it that they wanted to take the North away from Nigeria? This book tells the story how they almost got Babangida and perhaps he escaped by the whiskers. A classical work on Nigeria's political history. Read this book, Exploitation and Instability in Nigeria. You'll find it on udarabooks.com. You can also buy the book through the WhatsApp numbers pinned to this broadcast. Just send us a message and we will find you a copy. Yes. Look at this one. The Tale of June 12, the betrayal of democratic rights of Nigeria, written by Professor Omar Omori. Look at this work. Sit. I recommend this work to you. Read this book. Omar Omori was critical to the Babangida project. He was your colleague at some point. Tell me about him.
He was the Director General of the Center for Democratic Studies. When I was Director of Studies, I was my boss. And we were both students at the University of Ibadan, and we were also colleagues in the Department of Political Science, University of Ibadan. And it was his contact with Babangida was that he was in the first set, what they call SEC 1 of the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. That was the 1979 set. I was in the 1980 set. And so that's where he met Babangida and they became friends.
So when Babangida invited him to join his government, he came to the department and invited intellectuals like you.
Babangida told him that I know a little bit about how the center came into being and that he should invite me to work with him. And I agreed.
So many of you in that Department of Political Science were thinking for Babangida?
We were thinking for Nigeria. But because Babangida was the symbol of Nigeria at the point, we interacted with him.
Omomori was disappointed that Babangida did not keep to his promise.
Yeah, he was disappointed, but he did not show enough courage about that disappointment.
Why did you say so?
Because, see, when the when the decree that brought Shoneka in was being worked on, he had the opportunity to advise against it. but he did not.
Why?
Because he found that maybe the ties of friendship were stronger than the role of advisor. And so he succumbed to the ties of friendship. Because he had the opportunity to say something about it. He talked to me about it, and I told him that for me, Shonekan was not a successor because Shonekan never contested election.
You wanted MKO?
If we had conducted the election and MKO won, I was not convinced that he did anything because they did not even tell the public what he did wrong. We were told that there were intelligence reports about this and that and so on. But then the intelligence reports came before the election. It should have been used before the election, not after the election.
Babangida said if he did not annul the election, there would have been a military coup.
That's how it's unfortunate that a general would chicken out of that.
Did he chicken out?
Yeah, well, he was commander-in-chief. So if he had an idea there would be a coup, he should have gone ahead to deal with the coup.
Eventually, he set up the interim national government. And there was a coup. Abacha took over.
Of course.
Was that a coup?
Well, in a way, it wasn't a coup. It was an arrangement. Because that's already inscribed in the interim national government decree that if Shonekan fails, then the most senior military man should take over. First of all, why would you think that Shonekan will fail? To say that he will fail means that you already assume he should fail. And then you have appointed somebody to take over.
And he took over.
And he took over. So it wasn't a coup, it was a succession. And it was planned.
And Abacha began his lies.
And Abacha then decided that he would stay on. And he decided, he went ahead to establish political parties, dissolved all the parties, and then decided to establish 5 political parties. And Chebola Ige described those 5 political parties as 5 fingers on a leprous hand. Because they were the same. They were on the same hand. They were all, you know, you just split the same thing into 5. And eventually, the 4 of the 5 parties accepted Abacha as their candidate for the presidency. Technically, Abacha wasn't a member of any of the parties. So how come the parties now adopt him as their presidential candidate? The normal rule is that a presidential candidate will be one of the members of the political party. In this case, a party was appointing somebody not in their party to become the president of the country.
Yes, if you want to listen to that interview, the full version, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's on my YouTube channel. It's about 1 hour, 30 minutes. Interesting interview with Professor John Ayuade. And if you are interested in those books I recommended, send me a WhatsApp number. Send me a WhatsApp message on 080-999-18449. 080-999-18449. I worked with Bosun Alayode to bring you this edition of the program. The next program is Ijoba Ibile with Abiodun Adewale. I am Edmondo Pilo. Thank you for listening.